Hey y'all. How y'all doing? This is my intro music. See, I still mess with old Drake. Okay? Marvin's Room. Okay? That's where we at. I don't know how much of this song I can play. I'll be there for you. I will care for you. I think you just don't know. After her part, then we'll go into the conversation. All the baggage just saying it's heavy. Just don't forget me. You don't ever have to worry. You don't ever have to hide. I've seen all my mistakes. So let me. Cause if you would let me, here's what I do. I hope I don't get flagged for that. I really don't know how this YouTube thing work yet, but we're just having a good time. We'll learn as we go. Okay, so y'all know I made a post about me wanting to be the next Kevin Samuels. I really fucked with Kevin Samuels. I think that y'all just really don't know where y'all at, and y'all have a false sense of self, and you just couldn't take constructive criticism. He made a lot of valid points about having kids out of wedlock, 3 and 4 babies, and now you want to impose, all these rules on a new nigga. Like, it don't make sense to me, So we're not gonna go into all of that today. But what I wanted to talk about, because it's been a common subject, is having a high value man. Okay. And I know so many people to be like, I want a man who got his stuff together, this and that. If those are the words you use, got his stuff together, 9 times out of 10, you're not in a place where you're really ready for a high value man. Sorry, sis. Just your vernacular, just your conversation in itself kind of gives me the impression that you're not there. But definitely get you a nigga who worked for like Ford or, a car plant, who make good money, and blue collar guy, who's has a similar background as you. I think what people have to do is date on their level. Date on your level. I think social media and us romanticizing relationships that we see online, and we see the man is buying the expensive bags and the cars and they doing all this, but you guys have to remember that they live a completely different lifestyle than many of you do. Okay? And some of the things that they may do for each other is a different standard, because they're in a different place. Like they say, it's levels to this shit. It absolutely is levels to this shit. So you just understanding what level you're on and aligning yourself with a relationship that's going to be conducive to that, and not trying to do too much. Like you got a high school education, but you think you're going to get a job that requires a doctorate. I don't care how much skin you got in the game. You're not going to be able to do that. You're just not. Okay? So I hope I'm not the first person to break that to you. I hope this is not news to you. But yeah. So let's talk about dating a high value man. So I feel like I can speak to this point because I've dated some very high value men. Yes, I have. And what I learned from these experiences is that, first of all, let me tell y'all, what's really a high value man? Okay. From my experience, a high value man, affluent, that word comes to mind. Very, very, very intelligent. Very, very well traveled. I'm talking the type of man that you wouldn't even meet out on the street. Like, high value men, I wasn't really in places to meet high value men. I've been told, oh, if you really want to meet a guy like this, you hang out in certain places. But that's not ever how it happened for me. I never was out looking for a high value man when I met one. It always just seemed to kind of happen where we might have been at the same place in the same time, and we had a conversation, and then once we had a conversation, it just wound up going on for hours, and then it was just like, damn. And it was like, damn. And, you know, I've had said high value men, you know, tell me things about myself. And honestly, one of the reasons I'm actually doing this YouTube channel and even being on camera is because of some of the conversations, or one conversation or a few conversations in particular with one said high value man. And he just really put that 22 gas in me. Like, you know, we got 87, 89, 93. He put that 22, 21, 22 gas in me. Like, he really, I don't know. I'm not gonna say he introduced me to myself, because I already knew who I was, but I'm gonna say he affirmed some things. And, you know, once I met him and I saw how he viewed me and the things that he said about me, I was just like, wow, you think that about me? And he was like, yes. And I'm like, so high value man, very, very well educated, very well traveled, been all over the world. Like, the stories he told me and the things that he'd accomplished in his life, like, you know, the type of person where you could just sit up under them and they just talking, and he's showing me pictures from all over the world and all the places that he's been, and the dignitaries, and being on private planes with, you know, owners of you know, NBA teams, and traveling with, you know, people that we see in magazines. And he was a philanthropist, and he had so much money that he invested in so many different things. And but ultimately, when we connected, it was on an intellectual level, and it was just some random shit. So I'm gonna just tell you a little bit of the backstory. I was in Vegas, and I was going to a barbecue, and he just happened to be there. So one of the guys at the barbecue worked at a very high-end store where they sell like the Viking and the very high-end expensive ranges and appliances. And y'all know I'm an appliance whore. Okay, I love it. I do. Okay, you put me in front of a 6-burner stove, yeah, I'm gonna be acting different. I just get excited about shit like that. So long story short, he met the guy through this high-end store where he was going to buy like his stuff for his new home, one of the homes that he bought in Vegas. And he was rehabbing it, but he was doing a lot of stuff on his own because he's just that type of guy. And we met at the barbecue, and just random, I don't even know what we said. He did have a background in insurance, so we kind of talked about that. And then it went from talking about the ethers, and when he started talking about the ethers, I'm like, okay, well, all right, you know, I'm that type of weird where I'm like knowing all this other shit that most people don't even talk about. We talking about like outside of the box, outside of your normal conversation. So we meet at the barbecue. I really didn't know who he was, how old he was, or anything like that. We just were having a conversation. So what wound up happening is we wound up talking for like 3-4 hours. Like, so we talked. What happened? Did we talk for 3 or 4 hours? Yeah, that's what happened. We talked for 3 or 4 hours that night. Then I went back to my hotel. Matter of fact, he took me back to my hotel because my sister had drove. And yeah, so he took me back to my hotel. Was that night? I can't remember. But anyway, so we talked for like 4 hours that first night. And then the next day, we go back over to the guy's house because it's like a friend of my sister's. And we're just chilling there because we had to check out of our hotel and our flight wasn't leaving at midnight. So we're just chilling at the crib eating the leftovers from the day before. So then I guess her friend calls and like, hey, dude, say he's on his way over here to get some leftovers. I'm like, nigga, who the fuck coming to get some leftovers for some barbecue? Okay, whatever. So he comes to get the barbecue, and we wound up talking again for hours. So he immediately comes outside. He didn't even get no food. He comes outside. I was sitting outside high, you know, because I'm very much myself. And what I learned is that don't hide yourself from people in the beginning. Like, I'm never going to pretend to be something that I'm not. Like, I started smoking weed when I was, like damn near 30, when I was going through my divorce. And I'm not about to hide that shit from nobody. Like, I'm just not going to be sneaking around like a fucking kid. Like, if that's not your thing, that's fine. But I wasn't about to fake the funk. That's just not who I am. So that was that. So I'm out there high as hell. I had some good, Vegas weed from the dispensary. Like, it was some blue, it had a name like blue in it. When I tell you, it was the type of shit you only hit twice and you just be like, I'm good, okay? So I was outside catching a breeze. I love the weather in Vegas. So just chilling. So we talked for a couple hours again that day, and then he took me out to dinner. He's like, let me just take you out to dinner. So he takes me out to dinner to his favorite Thai restaurant. We have dinner. He's on the phone with, like, I'm not gonna say what state, but the guy's like the head of procurement for that state, and people who are over like the NAACP for different reasons. Like, a lot of people. Like, people are like, who is that? And he'd be like, oh yeah, I'm here with Brittany. I want to introduce you to her, and she's in Chicago. And I'm like, what the fuck? So this is like literally the second day. So that I've known him. So we just have a conversation, and he's just like in awe, you know. And I'm just like, okay. You know what I'm saying? I'm just having a good now. Mind you, this man is much, much, much older than me. All right, we're gonna leave it there. We're just gonna say old enough to be my dad. But my dad is actually 75, so he wasn't that fucking old, but he was older. Okay, so so I go home. Did he wind up taking us to the airport? For some reason, did he or Terry take us to the airport? For some reason, I think he did. I can't remember. But for some reason, yeah, he did take me to the airport. So he took me to the airport. We exchanged numbers. And the funny thing is, we almost didn't meet because I missed my flight the day before and I wasn't going to come. But my sister was like, gee, I really want you to meet, you know, so-and-so's friend. Like, gee, you need to come to the bar. I'm like, fuck it. So I wound up paying extra, whatever, and getting the next flight out. Yeah, so we met and we just clicked. So by the time I came home, he would FaceTime me and we'd be on the phone FaceTiming for hours. Like, we would fall asleep, and then, you know, it's a time difference. So we would literally fall asleep on the phone, like playing each other music. He's telling me about just all the things that he's done, sending me pictures, just telling me about his life, you know, how he came up, and, you know, the school that he went to, where he was from, all the people that he knew, all the relationships, you know, showing me pictures of all these celebrity events, taking pictures with all these, you know, famous people or whatever, and just the circle that he was in. And, you know, one thing I could say, this is the point I want to make. Everybody thinks that you just having your shit together, having good credit, maybe having a good career, maybe having a really good income, that automatically makes you a match for a high value man. Your match to a high value man absolutely has nothing to do with how much money you make and how much education you have. I mean, education does play a role in it because you want to be able to engage, but ultimately, I don't have a college education. I got college credits. I probably got enough maybe to almost be a bachelor's, but I'm not like, I can't say that I'm like super well educated. I'm just me, you know. I'm kind of like, I just know a lot of shit, you know. I'm one of those rabbit holers, you know. I'll go down and just research shit. There's a lot up here, you know. There's a lot up here. So but we were just able to just spar and talk, and he even said to me, he said, I never would have thought that I would even be attracted to a woman your age. He said that to me. He was like, you're just so, I really wish, you know how some of those moments where motherfuckers saying some shit to you and you wish you could record it because you like, what? That's what you think about me? Okay. So it really made me see myself in a new light. But I want to say this. A high value man is more about mental stimulation. Can you mentally stimulate him? And he's not your average nigga. So this regular coming home, oh, I'm about to make you some tacos tonight and we gonna watch Love and Hip Hop. No, that's not gonna work for him. What they're attracted to is intelligence, somebody who can add value to them. So he flew me out to Vegas and to one of the properties that he was working on, and like, I just came for the weekend, and, you know, we went out and I helped him pick out furniture and appliances, and we were going and looking at, like, I wish I got video of some of this shit on my Snap, you know, but I would never like show his face because he's Googleable. And I would never do that to him. He's a very private person. Like, certain shit you just don't do. But out of respect. But you know, amazing guy. But I think what connected us was just my personality. A lot of y'all don't have personality. Sorry, y'all don't. A lot of y'all are very one-dimensional. I mean, everybody's different. I'm just gonna tell you what it is, because I've had conversations with so many people, and I see like where that conversation kind of gets stuck at, where once we get to talking about this, you can't go there with me because you don't have you can't touch on it. And I mean, I'd rather you not say nothing than try to pretend and try to get into a conversation. Like, that's like saying I'm gonna go deep sea diving, but I've never learned how to swim. Like, no, don't go over there, baby. Just sit on the edge of the pool and kick your feet in the water. Just stay over there. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I didn't even know that I was there until I met him, and I was like, damn, you know, all this random ass information that I thought I just knew for no reason actually came in handy. Because when you're talking to the right motherfucker, they gonna be like, wow, how did you know that? And sometimes I would be like, you know, I just read and I watch a lot of YouTube, but he just loved my personality. So I would say more than anything is not only being able to hold a conversation and being interesting, having a personality, and being like, I'm so many different people, and I tell people all the time, like, you know, I got like, I don't know how many personalities, maybe 6 or 7, you know, I'm working on naming them, you know, but they're all fucking lit, okay? And you know, I'm so, there's so many dimensions to me, and like, he just appreciated all of those things, like cooking and music and just my perspective on a lot of things in life. He was like, wow, you know, you just, but I listened to so much like Abraham Hicks and Napoleon Hill and Florence Scovel Shinn and affirmations and, you know, frequency, and I, you know, about, you know, us being, you know, physical, you know, spiritual beings having a human experience, and, you know, reincarnation, and like, oh my God, just so much deep shit, like so much shit. So it's like our conversations, it never got old. We never ran out of things to talk about. And he gave me so many amazing like tips about just how to handle myself in business. Like he just told me how to dress for my body. He was like, now I already dressed a certain way. I already knew how to dress very appropriate for whatever I was doing, and how to wear what complimented me and didn't kind of make me look like I was just all over the place. But one thing he did tell me, he said, because you're, well, he thought I was so beautiful in my ass or whatever. He was like, look, you got all of that. You know, you need to be making sure you have these type of pants on. Make sure you go get them either tailored or made to measure for your waist. Make sure that when you're meeting with men that you're dressed like this, so they'll take you seriously. Because we worked in the same industry at one point, I'll say that. So that's just so many things that so much game that he gave me. But it's just things that I didn't know about wealthy people and how they do shit. Like, I remember ordering all like the hardware and stuff for his bathrooms and stuff from what is it, RH or whatever, and some of that shit would look basic, but it was so much more expensive than, like, you know, the towel roll at Walmart is $50. This one is $300. Okay, it's a towel, you know, it's for the toilet paper. But you know, they just do things in a different way, like going to pick out barbecue grills that was like 20-30 bands for a barbecue grill. Okay, you know, and I'm just walking around with them and smiling because I love this type of stuff. I'm like, you know, but he was such a gentleman, and it was not no sexual shit. Like, he would get up and I would be asleep, and he would go get me Starbucks and bring it back for me before he went into the office. And he still, like, he had so many different businesses going in all these different states, and, you know, all this stuff. And he would just show me his plans and read the stuff to me and explain stuff to me. It was just amazing. And I think had it not been for the age difference and just me, I ain't gonna say I didn't want to settle down, but I'm not the type of person that's just gonna settle down with somebody just because they got it. Like he got everything and I could just have this amazing, comfortable life. I'm not a user. Like we had a bond and a connection. It was amazing, but it wasn't to be like, oh, I want to be with you forever. It wasn't that. So as far as a high value man goes, I would say, yeah, you know, your body doesn't matter to a high value man. They don't care about that. They're really not impressed by beauty, to be honest. To be honest, like beauty is a bonus. They really care about like what's coming out of your mouth. Like, what are you saying? You know, more than anything. And he wasn't the only man that I think he was the highest value as far as the tiers go. He was the number one. But dating men, or some of y'all consider high value men just a nigga with money. So if we just going back to like a nigga with money, we gonna say about them. When you date a dude who's a self-made millionaire, it's not like you see on Instagram where this nigga just handing you racks of money to go buy bags and shop. No, this nigga got it out the mud. I'm sorry, he's not a drug dealer. It doesn't work like that. And if y'all dated some niggas that was self-made millionaires who actually worked and built something, whether it was through real estate, they wasn't a drug dealer turned real estate. I'm talking about really he did something, he built it, he started from the bottom and he built it up to become a self-made millionaire. Those men don't be tricking off like that, and they don't even want to be with a woman that's gonna ask them for shit. And I mean, I can say that for sure because I've heard so many stories about them saying, man, I was talking to this chick and she this and this and that. Now, for me, the reason I've never asked a man for anything is because I just have too much pride. It's just not in me. I can't. But if you're around me and you know me, and you happen to somehow know via conversation, but I won't come out like, yeah, I'm going through this. I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent. No, never, ever. It'll just have to be something in certain situations where we'll be discussing something and he'll just be like, oh, you know, so I'll give you an example. My ex, I was in court for the kids. I had to pay my attorney, the kids' attorney. Me and my ex-husband was going back and forth to court. That shit was hella expensive. So the guy that I was with at the time, who's a self-made millionaire, he was just like, I'm gonna write a check for your retainer. You know, and then every time I had to pay my attorney, he would just write a check. I didn't have to ask him for it. I didn't have to say, baby, I don't know how I'm gonna pay this, because we were still very, very new. But it was just like the way he grew up and the type of mother that he had. He really admired the type of mother that I was, and he just wanted to make sure that I wasn't stressed. So it wasn't a matter of a man just giving me money or something like that. He would put me on and refer people to me and make it easier for me to make money, but he wouldn't necessarily hand me money like that. Or let's say if I was out and he called me, say, hey, where you at? I'm like, oh, I'm at the grocery store. He would just send me like $300-400, and I wouldn't even be really grocery shopping for real. I could breathe, and he'd be like, oh, here, you know, but it wasn't like, geez, you know, it was like a couple thousand here, a couple thousand there, you know, or, you know, he'll check on the kids, and the kids will say, oh, you know, I cash up Malachi and Matthew some money. Or like my daughter, I had got her a car. He like put her brakes, got her new brakes and tires and stuff like that. And then something happened to that car. It was something bad. And then I was out of the country, and me and him was broken up, and he bought my daughter a whole new car cash, like an $8,000 car, like a really nice car, a really nice used car for a 20-year-old with a baby. But I had my grandbaby, and she didn't have her transportation anymore. So he, you know, made sure bought her a car. So, but it was not like that. It's like what people portray, like, I think wealthy, like maybe musicians and people that we see on Instagram, however they get their money, but when they get their money faster and differently, I just think they spend different. He was very, very frugal. He drove a goddamn Toyota Avalon. He had an Audi and he had a Bentley, but he never drove the Bentley, because after he got it, he felt like he was a target. And that's just a mindset of a lot of niggas who come from where he came from. You know, you just be thinking a nigga gonna try to get you. So he wasn't flashy at all. He didn't spend a lot of money on material shit. You know, property, yeah. His kids, yeah. Like he bought me a car. Did he only buy me one car? Yeah, he only bought me one car. He bought me my first Mercedes. And it was just like, so, but it was never an ask. That's the point I'm trying to get to. It was never an ask. It was like I had a car. My car was acting up. It was hesitating. And I never really wanted a car note. I hadn't had a car note in years. So every time I would get a car, I would buy it cash. I don't care how much money I was making. I bought my car cash. I'll get it good from a good Indian or white person somewhere out in the suburbs. So I know it'd be a good car. And as long as it had heated seats and the sunroof, I was cool. I didn't need I didn't want to be in debt. And that's a whole different conversation. But I didn't, my car was acting up. So he was like, "Are we going to get you a car? What kind of car you want?" So when he told me to pick out a car, I didn't know what to do because I had never had nobody be like, "I'm going to buy you a car." Now, my ex-husband bought me a car, but he didn't ask me. He just bought the car and was like, "Surprise, here's the car," right? But he was like, "Pick out a car, find a car." So I was so fucking stressed out trying to find a car because I'm like, I don't want to spend too much. So then I asked him, "Okay, well, what's my budget?" And he was like, "Just tell me what you want." And that shit was overwhelming for me. So what wound up happening is he called me and told me to meet him somewhere at a dealership. And we walked around. I looked at a couple cars. I test drove like a BMW 520 something. I think it was like a 528. It was smaller than that though. I can't remember what number it was. And then I test drove a Mercedes C300. And then it was like I want it. And he paid for that shit cash, and that was it. And we hadn't even been speaking back to each other for like more than a month. But that shit was, I say that to say this. Niggas with money don't want a burden. They don't want somebody to beg them. They want somebody to be there for him to balance that shit out. Like, he would work, 14, 16 hours a day. He was the type of person where no matter what time of night he was going to pick up his phone because he did not believe in missing no money. Like, he didn't even take his kids on vacation. He felt like he wanted to have so many millions before he could even take a vacation. That's the type of, he was really, really a workaholic. And he was a really good dude, very affectionate. But, everybody had their flaws, And I think sometimes we be so focused on the material that we forget about, okay, well, if this person isn't really aligning with me and who I really want, but I'm afraid that if I let this go, that I won't find anything better. And then I'd miss my beat, like, oh, well, he was good enough. But we did have our issues. And that's another thing. Nobody's perfect. What are you willing to deal with? For me, I don't like inconsistencies in your emotions. Like, one day you up, one day you down. One day everything is good, one day it's not. Second guessing yourself a lot. Another one of my pet peeves, and this has nothing to do with money or anything else though. Everybody has trauma. No matter what they have fucking trauma. So, I could say for the older guy, he really was very emotionally intelligent, and he just knew it wasn't, you could tell whatever had happened to him, he had made sense of it, and we could have a conversation about it, and it was just like, yeah, and that happened like that, and it just was a different vibe. Like, I can't describe it, but a healed conversation. So one of my favorite quotes is Joe Dispenza says, what is it? A memory. Hold on, was it the memory? A memory without the emotional response is wisdom. Basically, when you can recall a bad memory and it doesn't put you in that low place like where it was when it happened, so you can remember it without having the emotional response as if it was happening right now, is wisdom. I hope you could catch that. Okay? All right? A memory without the emotional response that comes with that memory is wisdom. So you can see that in a totally different light. So he was very wise. But the other guy, he wasn't. He was still it was all new to him. So imagine you being the first millionaire in your family, And all the motherfuckers who never believed in you, all of a sudden on your back. I'm gonna tell his mama. I mean, it was so many things. His mom, his baby mama, his whole family. He just had so much weight on his shoulders. And with me being the closest person to him, I felt it. And because I'm an empath, I would lay next to him at night and I would feel it. He wouldn't sleep at night, you know, and like he had this big ass house and he wasn't even comfortable in it because he had never lived like that before. You see what I'm saying, y'all? It'd be like major adjustments people be making. And y'all just on the outside looking in, y'all be concerned about what you bring to the table. Like good credit, good money, good dick, whatever it may be. It's always going to be something that's not perfect. And you just got to determine what you willing to take a short on. That's it. Like what you willing to take a short on. Like for me, he was very religious. It's a lot of stuff that he didn't like to do, believe in doing. A lot of stuff that he didn't want done on him. Okay? He wasn't the freak. He wasn't a freak. He was not. He was very reserved sexually. And many times he made me feel like I knew immediately certain stuff that I would never say to him that I like to do. Like I remember we had a conversation about I'll just say taboo, something that's considered taboo sexually. And y'all can just draw your own conclusion, okay? And I said something and I laughed about it. He was like, ew, that's gross. But I was like, ew, okay, you think that's nasty? It's a lot of stuff that he thought was disgusting. But I also want to say that he had a lot of trauma. So I'm just saying, like, when we think about what we on the outside looking in, we on the outside looking into somebody, and you see them and they have this material things, and, you know, you be thinking, oh, wow, he got it going on. He got his life together. But no, it don't. It's just financial. He's cracked the code on what to take himself to that next level financially. He's found his niche. He's found his path and what he's good at and what he's passionate about. But this is all still new to him. Living the way he was living was new to him. Getting used to dealing with people having money was very new to him. Because we done been some places, baby, when I tell you he showed his ass, and I was so embarrassed. And he was very much like, if somebody told him what to do with his money, oh my God, want to set a motherfucker off and piss him off, he would go through the roof. Like, you ain't tell me what to do with my money, da 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 da. And I'll just be like, and I'm very, I don't like confrontation. I don't like loud. I don't like none of that. So when we would be a place out, I would never correct him. I would never be like, oh my God, you need to calm down. Don't say that, da da da. This is me. On the side, I'm just minding my business because he's right. It's his money. I could tell you so many times when we were like under contract to buy like a big ass house in Bloomingdale, Illinois. And the realtor was rushing him, telling him he needed to do this and that. He was like, I ain't finna do shit. You ain't trying to rush me. You know, he wanted to do things at his own time. Nobody was going to make him move fast. He was going to make sure shit was legit before he did anything. And he was just that person. So I just want to say, like, most men aren't easy to deal with. Nobody's really easy to deal with for the most part. But men with a little change, there's not no easier. Oh, wow. I'm not even gonna say what that was, but I'm just gonna keep rolling. But thanks for your visit. But yeah, y'all, that's all I wanted to say. Like, high value men, they don't require a lot, but who you are, being emotionally intelligent, being self-assured, just being your own woman, knowing who you are, I feel like it's really, really important. Being in control of your emotions. I'm really good at controlling my emotions. I'm so good at controlling my emotions. Niggas get mad at me like, do you give a fuck about me at all? I do. I really do. I love you so much. But am I gonna, like, I'm not gonna do all that. You feel me? I feel like for me, if I'm around you, then I fuck with you. Because I don't come around if I don't like you. I'll never cook for you if I don't love you. I'll never really engage with you. I'm not a I can't just shoot the shit with people just to be spending time. No. And I don't entertain people in order to reap some type of benefit in the end. And I think that's why it was easy for me to walk away from the relationship. Because it was like, hey, well, you know, I don't want to sell myself short. I can take care of I can take care of myself in the capacity that you know, is comfortable for me. And I don't need to lean on or be in a relationship with somebody else in order to ride their coattail. Like, yes, did I love living in a fucking big ass house with my dream kitchen? Which I've lived like that on multiple occasions in relationships. But did I love it? Absolutely. Did I like waking up, fireplace in my bedroom? The bathroom at his house was like the size of my whole was bigger than my whole front of my house. You know, terrace off the bedroom, huge his and hers walk-in closets. It was just like pond, land, just everything. It was everything. It was everything that I wanted, but it wasn't. So for y'all, you know, y'all out there still looking for a high value man, I would say just know who you are and be comfortable with who you are, so that, you know, you meet that person, you can show up as your authentic self, and then they can decide whether you're for them or not. But when you don't really know who you are, you just trying to go along to get along, and you just trying to like figure out who they want you to be in order to be with them, that's not gonna work. Because I see a lot of people like, oh, well, you know, I'm just gonna kind of blend in and mold to him. No, you really need to know who you already are. You can't use him to have an identity. You can't attach your identity to his. And that's where a lot of these women be messed up. Like when you see like these basketball wives and stuff like that, because they essentially were just attached to somebody and rolled up with them. And yeah, you might have started from the bottom with them, but you didn't have your own thing because maybe y'all was young, you hadn't really found yourself yet, and that's why you get lost in the shit, because you don't have anything, an identity outside of that relationship, if that makes sense. So yeah, you know, I was thinking about the whole high value man. Y'all just gotta know what's important to y'all. What's important to me is just chemistry, like friendship, like just effortless. That's like my key word when I think about a relationship. Effortless. Say it with your chest. Effortless. That means you ain't gotta work for it. Y'all show, hey, how you doing? Woo woo, we talk, and it just flows, and it's like I'm talking to my friend. And it's just like, oh, you hungry? We eat. Oh, you know, I like that. And or in the kitchen cooking, and you know, taste this what I made. And damn, baby, that's good. And oh, we watching this movie. And we ain't really gotta be doing too much of shit, but it's just a vibe. You see what I'm saying? Like, and just a level of peace and comfort when you with that person. You know what I'm saying? When you just be like, this is it right here. Like, shit, we in the crib, we ain't doing nothing, but I'm here with you, you here with me. We ain't necessarily always got to be having no deep-ass conversations, because sometimes I don't like to talk at all. I really just be wanting to chill. Like, ain't nothing wrong. You ain't nothing wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm cool. Just fucking nothing to talk about, you know? But just that effortless type of relationship, you know what I'm saying? And that's what's more important than money. That's what's more important than status. It's just that effortless relationship. And I'm going to tell you something else. I know that I probably could have been married, and this nigga wanted me to have kids, y'all. Could y'all believe that? Me, my granddaughter was already born. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all this. My granddaughter was like a year old. And this man wanted me to get in vitro. And he wanted twin boys. And I remember him sending me pictures of twin boys and stuff that he would just see on Instagram. Like, oh, look at them, woo woo. And he kept saying how he wanted to raise kids now that he wasn't struggling and poor, because he would walk in the rain taking his kids to daycare. He didn't have a car. His story was just amazing about how he just, you know, rose to the top and everything that he did to get to where he got. And he had a lot of trauma. And I forget what I was gonna say, but he just had went through a lot of shit. He had just went through a lot of shit, and you know, because of that, he was just a, you know, he was just a certain type of person, and it was hard for him to adjust. And he wanted to know what it was like to raise kids and not struggle, pretty much. So he wanted to have a baby, and we had talked about doing the vitro and getting a nanny. And of course I was gonna be a stay-at-home mom. I wasn't gonna fucking work. I mean, I was gonna work, like help him run his business. And that's another thing too, y'all. I ain't even talk about that. When you meet a man like that, you gotta be in go mode, baby. Cause sometimes it's not saying that you have to come in and you gotta work for him, like work as having a role in whatever his company, like a real position. But I'm just saying, like, y'all might be around each other one day and he's on the phone with a client or he's handling some business and you hear him say something on the phone, and like if it's something and it's something I could do, and I'll just get up and just put it together, and he could still be talking, and then he'll turn around and I just hand it to him. He'll be like, oh, you know, just little things like that. Like, I remember me and my ex were driving and he was always on the phone, his phone going off. He's trying to return calls and text messages to people, and he's driving, and he was so used to doing everything on his own, right? So he's driving, and I'm like, okay, well look, I'll text her the address. And I just took the phone out of his hand, like, all right, nigga, don't kill us, you know, but in a joking way. Then I text the people back the address, and I would just, you know, but we had that type of relationship where I wasn't worried about his phone, you know, we ain't had nothing to hide from each other. So it wasn't like, no, I don't want you to hold my phone. It wasn't none type of shit like that. It was literally, I'm taking your phone. Okay, we meeting with this carrier. Oh, we meeting with these people. Oh, we, you know, we doing this, we doing that. You gotta shoot a commercial this day. We're on the radio this day. That type of stuff. I met so many people and made so many connections and stuff like that. It's just, I just jumped in. And I was able to jump in because I was already knew who I was. You see what I'm saying? Like, you could leave me alone. What was that guy who just passed away? Harold Davis. You know what I'm saying? Harold Davis. Like, I'd be sitting talking to Harold Davis, and me and Harold Davis just chopping it up. Y'all don't know who Harold Davis is, just Google him. But, yeah, you know, we just in the radio station talking and getting all deep into culture and all this other stuff, and he'll be doing something, he'll come back and he'll be like, damn, he said he really like you. You see what I'm saying? So I was just already my own woman, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, guys, it's just more to it than the physical. It's not about sex. It's not about sex at all. It's about that, it's really about that mental stimulation and what you can bring to the person. Like my ex, the one I'm speaking about now, who I said never wanted to take off work, he had a lot of trauma and he didn't know how to settle his mind. I taught him how to meditate. I taught him about affirmations. I would wake up before I started working independently. On my way into the office, I would be on the phone with him, sending him things in the morning, Les Brown. We would do our meditation, our affirmations, and then we would talk, and I helped him out. Like, I was able to see what he was missing, and I was able to help him fill it up and make him be more whole. Because, you know, when you get to know people, you kind of see where they're broken and where they need to be mended, and I think we did that for one another. But yeah, I think that's what it's about, y'all. Just balancing that shit out, you know? So, you know, I don't want to be too long, but I just wanted to say that about the high value men and men with money and stuff like that. Yeah, so. But yeah, ultimately, y'all, money ain't everything. You know, one thing I could say is I've lived. Like a lot of people, you know, like where I'm at now, I'm chilling. I'm comfortable. You know, I'm in my own space, and you know, I'm not in a relationship, and I've gotten accustomed to it because for so long, from the time I was so young, I got married young. I've always had a family. I've always had my husband, my children, or a man that was like my husband and my children, and you know, all of that stuff. So I always had people who needed me, who I had to be in service to, cooking, cleaning, talking, consoling, counseling, all these different things. Women, we wear a lot of different hats, and it consumes us and it keeps us busy, but sometimes it keeps us away from really taking care of ourselves. So I think that was a hard adjustment for me, just taking care of myself and not having the responsibility of someone else to take care of or do anything for. So it's kind of like a huge adjustment to just, so I only have to worry about me? God damn it, that's hard. I'm telling y'all, it's hard. It's so hard to I'm so used to cooking for my family. Sometimes I just started really cooking for myself because it was hard for me. I would go all day without eating. But if my kids was home, I done cook 2 or 3 times. You see what I'm saying? It's just one of those things. So, but yeah, guys, money isn't everything. I know that, I could be living a different life right now. My lifestyle would be totally different, but I was miserable. I was. We would fight. His baby mama was crazy as fuck, y'all. Let me tell you something. So this nigga bought his big ass fucking house, right? And I'm gonna just say he lives 64 miles away from where I live at right now on the south side. Okay. So I'm out at his house. I'm never home, but Brianna was here at the time. So I'm never home. I'm always out there with him. But I wasn't quite ready to move everything out. He had probably only been in the house maybe 4 months. We had people coming over. We getting new windows, and I'm there. I'm meeting all the people whenever the people would come to the home to do the estimates or anything need to be fixed. Because when you got a big ass house, it's a lot of maintenance and it's very expensive. So we're not even gonna have that conversation, but it's very expensive. So I would always be there, handling business and making sure everything was running right. But it was it was too much. So his child's mother, they had a certain life. And when he and I started dating and he started to kind of level up to maybe do things that he wouldn't normally do, or, and I know that I had some influence on that. So when he finally got the house, he got it because this is the house he knew I wanted. So she wasn't feeling it. So long story short, she took her daughter's keys off her key ring and just walked in the crib one morning. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. The girls is upstairs asleep. He's at the dining room table on a laptop. I'm just walking around with a t-shirt on. She comes in acting a fool. The sheriff's got to come, and we way out there, and it was just embarrassing because you the only black man in this community, all these big ass houses, and you the only black man back there, and everybody knows you the only black man back there. So nosy neighbors, and we live down the street from the Wahlburgers. Y'all know the Wahlburgers, right? Yeah. So it was lit, but I wasn't happy. So that's what I want to say. I wasn't happy, and it was a lot of drama, and sometimes people drain you that you have to do so much work to keep them going. I had to constantly, and you down, gotta pick you back up. This happened. It didn't take much for him to lose his cool. He was not even killed. He was a sweetheart, but when he lost his temper, he lost it. And he had so much trauma with his mom, and his mom would just do stuff to him. And sometimes we would be in the car, and his mama would say something, and he'd just flash the fuck out. And he wasn't a cusser, but he would just and it was almost like he had so much trauma from when he was a kid and stuff that he had gone through and stuff that he had seen his mom go through. And it's he loved his mom, and his mom was so spoiled. He did everything for his mom, and I respected him a lot for how well he took care of his family, his children, and his mom. But I could tell they were draining him, and it was times that he didn't want to do stuff, and he did it anyway. And he felt the times that people weren't there for him, and nobody believed in him, and nobody encouraged him, and nobody told him they loved him, and he just never had any positive reinforcements ever. So I was the first person to tell him who he was. You got this. And we would be in business meetings, and we had a team of 14 or 15 agents. And I would primarily do a lot of the training. I would teach them, how to do their appointments, how to do a lot of stuff like that. That was my role. But he was very, he wasn't comfortable speaking to a lot of people. So if we were in a room and he started talking and somebody would talk over him, I could just see his whole demeanor and everything change. I just knew him so well. So I would like moderate the meeting, and I would start off the meeting and I would say what was going to be discussed. And I was like, at no point should you ever interrupt him. And I just set the tone, and he's just so happy that he didn't have to do that because he didn't know how. So, you know, it's like checks and balances where you pick up where they lack. You know what I'm saying? And this is how it's supposed to be, y'all. It's supposed to be like that. So I just want to say, all in all, I just hope that, you know, y'all find who y'all, you know, y'all equally yoked with. At the end of the day, that's what it is. Like, the person that balances you out, the person that is the yin to your yang. And if you have your sights set on a high value man, and you feel that you are worthy of that, then by all means, I hope that you align with him. But I will say that, you know, everything that glitters ain't gold. And like my boy T.I. said, everything that's fine ain't the finest, and everything that shine ain't a diamond. Okay? And I can speak to that. So yeah, and I would say, you know, to each his own. You know, when I look at like the housewives and stuff like that, I know a lot of those women settled for those men because they was like, man, this nigga got it. I'm not about to miss this opportunity. I'm probably not even in love with him for real. I'm probably like, hey, this is just my ticket out the ghetto. I can't do it. I can't fake shit with nobody. I can't. And when I withdraw my energy and I don't feel the same way about you, my facial expressions change, my body language change, my mannerisms change. I talk a lot less. I'm very much less engaging when I'm checked out of a relationship. So I don't stick around and just, you know, because I'm afraid to let go. I let go. And one of the things I've been working on, and a part of the reason that I'm doing this channel is because in the past, I've always been a ghoster. Like, I don't do confrontation. I don't argue. I don't want to, like, I don't like to do the, I'm leaving you because da 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 da. I feel like as we go through those different, like, arguments, and we express ourselves through different points in a relationship. So one point it might be this, and the next point it might be this, and the next point it might be this, and then another point, maybe some of those things that we talked about in the beginning will repeat again and be like, remember we talked about this, and then we talked about this, and we talked about this. Now it's this. Once we get to the point where I be like, okay, now it's this, and it's still this, I just check out. And it's like one day we might be in the car together. Like for me and him, we were coming home from out of town, pulled up to my house. I got my luggage out the car. We didn't say goodbye. We didn't kiss. I just rolled in the house and we didn't talk to each other anymore. And it was just understood. And, you know, he reached out to me again after that, and he still wanted to work it out. But I'm like, I don't want to feel that way. Like, I'm so sensitive. I'm so sensitive, y'all. Like, that uneasy feeling, that feeling of, I'm miserable, but I don't want to be alone. Like, I'm here with you every night, and I like being in the bed with you. I like being held. I like how you cater to me when you want to, and being able to really, like, you know, just having an easy life. You know, it was easy. It was very, very easy, but the things that were hard were just too hard. And to me, how I feel is so important to me. How I feel is so important to me. Like, I have to feel warm and fuzzy. You know that feeling? Like, warm and fuzzy? Like, I have to feel warm and fuzzy. If I feel uneasy, if I feel anxious, if I feel uncomfortable, like I'm walking on eggshells, if I feel like, can I say this to you today, or can I ask you about something today? And for me, and I know it's because of trauma, but if you snap at me, like if I ask you something, you, man, I said, what do? This is me. Okay. And I'm not gonna snap back. I will leave you the fuck alone. Y'all see what I'm saying? All of that. I can't. Some people say, oh, that's not healthy. You need to confront. But you know it's not okay to talk to somebody like that. And you know if I spoke to you like that, you wouldn't like it. So why do I gotta tell you, I don't like the way you talk to me. I don't like the way it makes me feel. Bitch, you know me. You sleep with me every night. You know my body. You saw the look on my face when you said that shit. So I gotta reiterate that to you and say, hey, I don't like the way that made me feel. No, I don't. I don't have to do that. I'm out this bitch. Like, my basic needs have always been met. I've always been happy. I find joy in the little things. Like little things, guys. Like, I'm happy. I'm content. I know how to entertain myself at this point. I know how to love myself. I know the things that bring me joy. Like little things. Like the other night I went and got me a red velvet cake. Okay? I took one piece of the cake. Now I had to get the whole cake because they don't sell it by the slice. You know, it'd be frozen, so you gotta let it unthaw. So I had me a piece of red velvet cake, right? Then I had me some sangria with it. And I watched a movie. And I took my ass to sleep. And I was content because I was at peace. I had my Himalayan pink salt candle burning, some incense. I was living my best life, you know? But that's something I had to learn from being alone. And now I know the contrast of having this life and this lifestyle and being unhappy versus not having the lifestyle and being happy. So that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm happy, you know? So now that I know what I want, I know that it doesn't need to come with a gourmet kitchen with Viking appliances and Sub-Zero refrigerator and all the bells and whistles. I would like that, but I want to be happy in it. Like if I got the big ass kitchens that I've had and just the experiences that I've had living in these homes, like my dream homes, not necessarily, but big and beautiful, something that I haven't been able to attain on my own. But there, I want to be there, but I want to be there with somebody that I really love. Like I want to be in the kitchen cooking and my man is in there. He walked past and come behind me and put his hands around my waist or kiss me. And we in bliss. Like it gotta feel good. Like you can put me in the mansion. You can put me in the Maserati. You can put me in the Range Rover. You know what I'm saying? Put me in whatever. And I'm not going to be happy if we aren't like a vibe. We got to be a vibe. And I got to feel at peace. And I got to feel warm and fuzzy. And when you come behind me and kiss me on my neck, or, y'all know I'm a freak too. I mean, I want it to be there. I want to feel it. Like when we doing that thing, like I got to be like, oh, I love him. Like when you just smell like, oh my God, I love him so much. Like when you just smell him, like, oh my God, he smells so good. I love him so much. Like it has to be that for me. When you just like, oh, I love him so much. Like when you see him, you like, y'all see when like when you come home and your puppy be like, and they be wagging their tail, they be doing all like this. Like when you see them, you be geeked up. Like that's babe, what you want? What you need? Like, and when you in those type of relationships, so look, I want to say this. I'm gonna say this at the end, and it's gonna be it. I know everybody's seen that lady talking about, I don't want to do nothing for a man. I don't want to cook for a man. I don't want to do that. Let me tell you something. When you don't want to do those things, it's because you're not in love. Because when you really love somebody, you want to do everything for them, and you don't want anybody else to do anything for them. Like my man, baby, nobody can cook for you but the restaurant. Okay, and I barely want you to eat at the restaurant because their energy is bad. Your mama. But let another woman say they gonna cook my man something to eat and fix. No, ma'am. No, you're not. You're not. Okay, well, thanks. I appreciate you, but no. Okay, you can't even touch his plate. Okay, but that's a whole nother subject. We'll go into me being a psycho on another video. Everybody has flaws.